The black SUV idled at the corner of 5th and Madison, engine growling low like a caged animal. Ronan Vale stepped onto the frozen pavement, his leather shoes crunching against ice that glittered under streetlights. The blizzard had turned Manhattan into a battlefield, wind screaming between skyscrapers, snowflakes slicing through the air like tiny blades. He'd just left a meeting where 3 men swore loyalty with their right hands while their left hands reached for guns. That was the life. Trust no one. Expect betrayal. Survive. But then he saw her. A child sat alone on the marble steps of the Hanover building, small enough to be swallowed by the storm. Her brown coat was too thin for this weather, the fabric worn at the elbows. Snow collected in her hair, on her shoulders, melting against her cheeks like tears she wasn't crying. Her boots were untied, laces dragging in the slush. One glove was red, the other was blue. She didn't move, didn't call for help. Just sat there, shivering so hard her whole body trembled. Ronan stopped walking. Children didn't sit alone in blizzards. Not in this part of the city. Not at midnight. His instincts kicked in. The same instincts that kept him alive when bullets flew and alliances crumbled. Danger. Trap. Setup. His eyes swept the street. No parents running toward her. No frantic adults searching. Just her. Just him. And the snow, falling like the world had forgotten how to be gentle. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. He moved closer, each step deliberate. His hand stayed near the gun, tucked inside his coat, muscle memory from years of staying ready. The girl's eyes lifted as a shadow fell across her. They were dark, deep, holding something that didn't belong in someone so young. Fear she was forcing herself to swallow, bravery she was teaching herself to wear. Her lips parted. Her voice came out small, cracking under the weight of cold and desperation. Are you Ronan Vale? The question hit him like a fist to the chest. Most grown men refused to say his name out loud. Hearing it from a child felt wrong, dangerous, like watching a lamb walk into a lion's den and ask for directions. He crouched down slowly, lowering himself until they were eye to eye. Something he never did. Not for business partners. Not for enemies. Not for anyone. I am, he said, his voice careful, controlled. Who are you? The girl's breath came out in shaky clouds. Snowflakes stuck to her eyelashes. She looked at him like he was the answer to a question she'd been carrying for too long. My name is Zara. She swallowed hard, her small hands twisting together. My mom said you're the only one who can help us. Ronan's pulse shifted, not faster, slower, the kind of slow that came before violence or vows. Where's your mother? He asked. Zara pointed down the street with a hand that shook. She told me to wait here. She said she'd come get me if she could. If she could. 2 words that turned his blood cold. Could what? Ronan pressed gently. Zara hesitated. Then she reached in her pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper, the edges soft for being handled too many times. She held it out to him like it was made of glass. Ronan took it, unfolded it with fingers that had broken bones, and signed death warrants. Inside was a name he hadn't seen in 7 years. A name he'd buried under ashes and blood, and the promise that some ghost stayed dead. Cashin Rourke. His jaw clenched. His heartbeat kicked once hard against his ribs. He looked back at Zara, and suddenly she wasn't just a lost child in a storm. She was a message, a threat, a loaded gun pointed at everything he'd built. Where did you get this? He asked, his voice dropping to something darker. It was in my backpack, Zara whispered. Mom said if something happened to her, I should find you. Ronan's throat tightened. Happened to her. Past tense. What's your mom's name? He asked. Zara's eyes flickered with something that looked like fear of the answer itself. Leanne Monroe. The wind howled. The city noise faded. Ronan's mind snapped back 7 years to a coup, a gun barrel pressed to his chest, and documents that appeared from nowhere. Evidence that saved his life and exposed a traitor trying to take his empire. He never learned who sent them. Anonymous. Untraceable. Until now. Leanne Monroe had saved him once, and now someone had taken her. What will Ronan do when he realizes this little girl is bait for a trap? Ronan stood slowly, the paper still clutched in his hand. The name burned through his palm like a brand. Cashin Rourke, the man who'd smiled at strategy meetings while plotting murder. The man who'd shaken Ronan's hand and then reached for his throat. The man who vanished before Ronan could finish what he started. And now he was back. Zara watched him with eyes too knowing for her age. She didn't ask if he was scared. She didn't ask if he'd help. She just waited like she already knew the answer and was giving him time to catch up. "Your mother," Ronan said carefully. "She helped me once. Years ago." Zara nodded. "She said you'd remember. She said you don't forget people who save you." He didn't. Ronan Vale remembered every debt, every betrayal, every face that showed up when the world tried to bury him. Leanne Monroe had been a ghost in his story, a name he never knew, a hand that reached through the dark when no one else would. "She said you'd keep me safe," Zara added, her voice barely louder than the wind. "Because you protect people who deserve it." Ronan's chest tightened. He didn't protect people. He controlled territories. He managed threats. He survived. Protection was a luxury he couldn't afford, a weakness enemies exploited. But looking at Zara, small, shaking, holding on a faith that didn't make sense, he felt something crack inside him. Something he thought died years ago when his own family burned and the world taught him that mercy was just another word for failure. "Did your mother tell you why she needed me?" he asked. Zara shook her head. "Just that you were strong, and that bad people were scared of you." She paused. "Are you scared of them?" Ronan almost smiled. "Almost." "No," he said. "I'm not." "Good," Zara whispered. "Because Mom said the man who's looking for her, he's really bad." Ronan's hand moved to his phone. He texted his driver, one word, "Status." The reply came instantly. "Sir, someone's watching you. 3rd floor of Hanover Building. Curtain moved when you approached the girl." His eyes snapped up. The building loomed behind them, windows dark except for one. 3rd floor, far right. A shadow shifted behind glass. Someone was watching. Someone wanted him to find Zara. Someone wanted him involved. This wasn't rescue. It was recruitment. And Ronan was already halfway into the trap. Who's watching them from the shadows? And why does this feel like the beginning of something Ronan can't control? Ronan didn't look at the window again. That was the first rule of being watched. Never let them know you know. He wrapped his coat around Zara, the heavy fabric swallowing her small frame. She didn't resist. She leaned into the warmth like it was the first kind thing that had touched her in hours. "How long were you sitting here?" he asked, guiding her toward the SUV parked at the curb. "A while," she said quietly. "People walked by, lots of them." Ronan's jaw tightened, and no one stopped. Zara shook her head. "One lady looked at me, but then she looked away." That was the city. That was the world. People saw suffering and turned their backs because getting involved meant risk, and risk meant consequences. Easier to pretend the cold didn't exist. Easier to let someone else carry the weight. Ronan had built an empire on that truth. But right now, it made him want to burn the whole street down. "Your mother told you I protect the broken," he said, more statement than question. Zara nodded. "Even if you pretend not to." He stopped walking, looked down at her. How did she know that? Zara's eyes met his without fear. She said powerful people either destroy or defend. And you defend, even when it costs you. Ronan had never heard himself described that way. Dangerous, yes. Ruthless, always. But a defender? That word belonged to heroes and stories, not men with blood on their hands and bodies in their past. She was wrong, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. No, Zara said simply. She wasn't. The wind picked up, throwing snow against his face. He felt it, cold, sharp, real. And he felt something else. Eyes, still on them, still waiting. His phone buzzed again. Another message from his driver. Movement in the alley. He sighed. 2 figures, armed. Ronan's pulse didn't spike. It steadied. This was familiar territory. Threat assessment. Exit strategy. Survival math. He looked down at Zara. Did anyone follow you here? Her face changed. Fear broke through the bravery. There was a man, she whispered. Mom saw him first. She told me to run. She said, her voice cracked. She said he wanted something she found. Ronan crouched again, his hands on her shoulders. Zara, listen to me. Did your mother say what she found? Zara's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. Papers. Names. She said they were doing bad things. She said if people knew, it would stop. Ronan's mind raced. Leanne Monroe wasn't just running. She was exposing something. And exposure meant enemies. Enemies with resources. Enemies who didn't leave witnesses. Did she tell you where she was going? He asked. Zara shook her head. She just said to find you. She said you'd know what to do. A gunshot cracked through the night. Not close. 2 blocks away. Maybe 3. But close enough. Ronan grabbed Zara's hand. We need to move. Now. Why is someone shooting? And how much time does Ronan have before the danger finds them? Ronan pulled Zara toward the SUV, his grip firm but not rough. She stumbled once, her untied laces catching on ice, but he caught her before she fell. The gunshot echoed in his mind, bouncing off buildings, multiplying into a threat he couldn't see yet. His driver stood beside the vehicle, hand inside his coat, eyes scanning rooftops. Marcus, 20 years in the game, never flinched, never missed. 2 shooters, Marcus said, voice flat. East Alley. They're not hiding. They want me to see them, Ronan replied. Marcus nodded. It's a push. A push. Street term for forcing someone into action. Make them move. Make them react. Make them predictable. Ronan opened the SUV door and lifted Zara inside. She sat on the leather seat, still wrapped in his coat, looking smaller than ever. He turned back to Marcus. 3rd floor window. Someone's been watching since I got here. Marcus glanced up, nodded. I'll handle it. No, Ronan said. Let them watch. I want to know who's running this. Marcus raised an eyebrow, but didn't argue. And the shooters? Avoid them. We're not engaging tonight. Ronan climbed into the SUV beside Zara. Take the long route. Stay off main streets. Marcus slid into the driver's seat and started the engine. The vehicle pulled away smoothly, tires gripping ice like claws. Zara sat perfectly still, her hands folded in her lap. She stared at the window, watching the city blur past. Snow swirled in the headlights, ghostly and endless. Are they going to hurt my mom? She asked, her voice so quiet Ronan almost missed it. He didn't answer right away. Lying to children was easy. Lying to this child felt wrong. I don't know, he said honestly, but I'm going to find her. Zara turned to look at him. You promise? Ronan had stopped making promises years ago. Promises were chains. Promises were weaknesses enemies used to drag you under. But looking at Zara, her faith, her fear, her desperate hope, he felt something shift. I promise, he said. Zara nodded. Then she reached into her backpack, a small, worn thing covered in faded stickers. She pulled out a stuffed bear, missing one eye, its fur matted and loved. Mom gave me this, she said. She said as long as I have it, she's with me. Ronan's throat tightened. He remembered his own mother, years ago, pressing a silver coin into his palm before the world took her. He'd carried that coin until the day he buried it with her. His phone buzzed. A video file from his security chief. He opened it. The footage was grainy, pulled from a street camera 2 blocks south. Timestamp, 37 minutes ago. A woman ran through the snow. Leanne Monroe. Ronan recognized her from the research he'd done in the last 5 minutes. Photos pulled from databases, social media ghosts, employment records. She was sprinting, her coat open, her hair wild. Terror marked every step. 2 men chased her. Dark coats, efficient movements. Professionals. One grabbed her arm. She fought, twisting, screaming words the camera couldn't hear. No one on the street helped. They walked past like she was invisible. The second man grabbed her other arm. Together, they forced her toward a black van idling at the curb. Ronan's hands clenched. The van door opened. Leanne struggled, but the men were stronger. They shoved her inside. The door slammed shut. Then the van paused. The side door opened again. A man stepped out. Tall, clean-cut, confident. He looked directly at the street camera like he knew exactly where it was. He smiled. Then he got back into the van. Ronan's blood turned to ice. Freeze the frame, he growled into the phone. The image sharpened. The man's face became clear. Cash and Rourke, alive, unharmed, smiling like he'd just won a game Ronan didn't know they were playing. What does Cassian Rourke want? And why did he let Ronan see his face? Zara clutched her bear tighter, her small fingers pressing into the worn fabric. Ronan stared at the frozen image on his phone. Cassian Rourke's face, sharp and smug, a ghost who should have stayed buried. 7 years ago, Rourke had been Ronan's second-in-command. Trusted, respected, the man you put in charge when you left the room. But trust was a door that swung both ways, and Rourke had kicked it open from the inside. He tried to take over, tried to turn Ronan's allies against him, tried to put a bullet in his chest during a meeting that was supposed to be about expansion. He failed, barely, because someone, Liam Monroe, he knew now, had leaked documents exposing the coup. Bank transfers, communications, proof that Rourke was the traitor. Ronan's remaining loyalists moved fast. Rourke ran faster. He disappeared before Ronan could finish him. Vanished like smoke. Ronan had burned Rourke's network to ash, destroyed his alliances, made sure his name became poison in every underworld circle from New York to Los Angeles. But he never found the body. And now Rourke was back, not hiding, not running, standing in front of camera, making sure Ronan saw him. This wasn't about Leanne Monroe. This was about Ronan. "Are you okay?" Zara asked, her voice cutting through his thoughts. He looked at her. She was watching him with those two old eyes, like she could see the war happening inside his head. "I'm fine," he said. "You don't look fine." Ronan almost laughed. Kids had a way of cutting through lies adults spent years perfecting. "The man who took your mother," he said carefully. "I know him." Zara's grip on the bear tightened. "Is he going to hurt her? Not if I find her first. But what if you don't?" The question hung in the air, heavy and sharp. Ronan didn't have an answer that would make it lighter. "I will," he said instead. Zara studied him for a long moment. Then she asked, "Are you going to leave me too?" The words hit harder than the gunshot from earlier. Harder than Rourke's smile. Harder than anything Ronan had faced in years. He turned to face her fully, his voice low and steady. "No, I don't leave people behind. Mom said you'd say that," Zara whispered. "She said you don't break promises." Ronan's chest tightened. He hadn't made a real promise since the day he buried his family. Promises were for people who believed the world was fair. He'd stopped believing that a long time ago. But looking at Zara, her faith, her fear, the way she held on to hope like it was the only thing keeping her warm, he felt something crack. Something old and buried and dangerous. He reached out and brushed a snowflake off her forehead. "I'll find her mother," he said quietly, "and I'll bring her back. This city owes her a debt, and I always collect what I'm owed." Zara's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. Instead, she leaned against him, her small body shaking with exhaustion and relief and fear all tangled together. Ronan sat still, unsure what to do with the weight of her trust. Then his phone buzzed again. Another message, another video. This one was different. It was live. Ronan opened it. The screen showed a dark room, concrete walls, a single chair in the center. And sitting in that chair, wrist bound, face bruised, was Leanne Monroe. She looked directly into the camera. Then a voice. Rourke's voice spoke from off-screen. "Hello, Ronan. Let's talk about what you're going to do next. What does Rourke want? And how much time does Leanne have left?" The video played on Ronan's phone, Leanne Monroe's bruised face filling the small screen. Her wrists were tied to the chair with zip ties that cut into her skin. Blood dried at the corner of her mouth. But her eyes burned with defiance that hadn't been beaten out of her yet. Rourke's voice came through the speaker, smooth and mocking. "She's stronger than I expected. Been asking about her daughter for the last hour." Very touching. Ronan's jaw clenched so hard his teeth ached. Beside him, Zara leaned forward, trying to see the screen. He angled it away. "Don't," he said quietly. "That's my mom," Zara whispered. "I know." On screen, Rourke stepped into frame. He looked exactly as Ronan remembered. Sharp suit, perfect hair, smile that belonged on a shark. He leaned down next to Leanne, his hand resting on the back of her chair. "Ronan, I know you're watching," Rourke said. "I made sure the little one would find you. Smart kid. Brave too. Gets that from her mother." Leanne's head snapped toward the camera. "Zara, if you can hear this. Rourke's hand covered her mouth. No messages. Not yet. He looked back at the camera. Here's what's going to happen. You have something I want. She has something I want. We're going to make a trade. Ronan's security chief called. He answered, keeping his eyes on the video. Boss, we traced the feed. It's coming from the old Riverside warehouse. Dock 7. How many hostiles? At least 6. Maybe more inside. Ronan into the call. His mind was already moving, calculating angles, risks, outcomes. Dock 7 was Rourke's old territory, back when they worked together. Ronan had given him that section of the waterfront as a reward for loyalty. Loyalty that never existed. What does he want? Zara asked, her voice small. Ronan looked at her backpack. At the USB drive she'd shown him earlier. The one her mother told her to protect. Something your mother found, he said. Something that could destroy him. On screen, Rourke smiled wider. You have 12 hours, Ronan. Bring me what Leanne stole, and she goes free. Don't, and he shrugged. Well, you know how this ends. The feed cut to black. Ronan stared at the empty screen, his reflection staring back at him in the dark glass. Marcus glanced in the rearview mirror. Orders, take us to the safe house on Lexington, Ronan said. Then pull every available man. I want eyes on that warehouse in 30 minutes. You're going in? Not yet. Ronan's eyes shifted to Zara. First, I need to know what's on that drive. Zara pulled the USB from her backpack and held it out. Her hand shook. Mom said it's really bad, she whispered. She said it could get people killed. Ronan took it carefully. It already has. What secrets are on the USB, and will Ronan trade them to save Leanne's life? The safe house smelled like old wood and gun oil. Ronan carried Zara inside, her head resting against his shoulder, half asleep from exhaustion. He set her down on a leather couch and draped a blanket over her small frame. She didn't wake up, just curled into the warmth and kept breathing. Marcus stood by the window, watching the street below. 2 more of Ronan's men arrived within minutes. Dante and Jerome, both veterans who'd been with him since the beginning. They didn't ask questions, just waited. Ronan plugged the USB into his encrypted laptop. The screen flickered. Files began to load. Hundreds of them. Documents, photos, audio recordings, bank statements. He opened the first file. His chest tightened. It was a ledger. Names, dates, amounts. Transactions moving through offshore accounts, shell companies, fake charities. Money laundering on a scale that made Ronan's operation look small. But it wasn't the money that made his blood run cold. It was the names. Judges, police captains, city council members, federal agents, people who were supposed to uphold the law, all taking payments from Cash and Rourke's network. A network that trafficked more than money. It trafficked people. Women, children, disappeared from streets, sold across borders, erased like they never existed. Ronan had known Rourke was dirty. But this was a machine, a system, protected from the top down. And Leanne Monroe had documented all of it. Boss, Marcus said from across the room. You seeing this? Ronan looked up. Marcus had his own laptop open, running facial recognition on the photos from the USB. Matches were popping up. Missing persons reports. Cold cases. Girls who vanished and were never found. Until now. She's been tracking him for years, Marcus said quietly. Every victim, every transaction. She built a case that could take down half the city. Ronan scrolled through more files. Then he found something that made his pulse stop. A document dated 3 weeks ago. An email thread between Rourke and someone identified only as the broker. They were discussing a new shipment. Location, New York. Target demographic, young, vulnerable, easy to move. The final message was clear. Acquisition begins this week. Monroe is getting too close. Handle it. Ronan's hands curled into fists. Leanne hadn't just found evidence of past crimes. She'd uncovered an operation that was still running, still destroying lives. And Rourke knew she was onto him. That's why he took her. That's why he sent Zara to Ronan. Because if Ronan used this evidence, Rourke's entire empire would collapse. Every corrupt official, every dirty cop, every politician on his payroll exposed. Arrested. Destroyed. But if Ronan gave it back, Leanne might live. and the monster would keep feeding. Dante leaned against the wall, arms crossed. What are you thinking? Ronan stared at the screen, at the faces of the missing, at the names of the powerful who let it happen. I'm thinking, he said slowly, that Rourke made a mistake. What mistake? Ronan looked up, his eyes cold and sharp. He thought I'd choose the woman over the evidence. Marcus raised an eyebrow. And you're not. Ronan stood, closing the laptop. I'm going to do both. Jerome spoke for the first time, his voice deep and cautious. Ow! You got her locked down. 6 men minimum. Probably more. You walk in there trying to be a hero, you're dead. She's dead. The evidence disappears. Then I won't walk in like a hero, Ronan said. I'll walk in like the ghost he should have killed 7 years ago. He turned to Marcus. Send copies of everything on that USB to 3 people. My lawyer, a federal contact I trust, and a journalist who owes me. Insurance? Marcus asked. Leverage, Ronan corrected. If I don't make it out, those files go public. Rourke loses everything either way. Dante grinned. You're going to war. I've been at war, Ronan said quietly. I just didn't know it until tonight. He glanced at Zara, still sleeping under the blanket. She trusted him, believed in him, saw something in him he'd stopped seeing in himself, and he wasn't going to let her down. Can Ronan save Leanne without sacrificing the evidence that could save countless others? Zara woke up an hour later, her eyes blinking against the dim light. She sat up slowly, clutching her bear. Ronan sat across from her in a chair, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. You're still here, she said, her voice thick with sleep. I told you I don't leave, he replied. She rubbed her eyes. Did you find my mom? I know where she is. Zara's face lit up with hope. Can we go get her? Ronan hesitated. It's not that simple. Why not? How do you explain to a child that rescue means risk? That saving one person might cost others? That the world doesn't trade lives fairly? The man who has your mother, Ronan said carefully, he wants something from me. Something your mother gave you to protect. Zara looked down at her backpack. The USB? Yes. So give it to him, she said like it was obvious. Then he'll let her go. Ronan shook his head. It's not just about your mother. That USB has information that can stop him from hurting other people. A lot of other people. Zara frowned. Like who? Other mothers. Other kids. People like you. Her small hands twisted the fabric of the blanket. She was quiet for a long time, thinking. Then she asked, if you give him the USB, does my mom come home? Maybe, but the other people don't get saved? Ronan's throat tightened. No. Zara looked up at him with those impossibly brave eyes. What will my mom want you to do? That was the question, wasn't it? The one that made this decision impossible. Leanne Monroe had spent years gathering evidence, risking her life to expose monsters. She'd sent her daughter to Ronan not just for protection, but to make sure the truth survived. She wanted to stop him, Ronan said quietly. Zara nodded slowly. Then she reached in her backpack and pulled out the USB. She held it in her small palm, staring at it like it weighed more than she could carry. Then stop him, she whispered. Ronan stared at her. Zara, Mom always said the right thing is usually the hard thing. Tears filled her eyes, but didn't fall. She wouldn't want other kids to lose their moms. Even if it means... Her voice broke. Even if it means she doesn't come back. Ronan felt something crack inside his chest. This child, this impossibly strong, impossibly brave child, was making a choice no one should ever have to make. I'm not giving him the USB, Ronan said firmly, but I'm still getting your mother back. Zara looked up. Ow! By making him think he's already won. He stood, pulling out his phone, dialed Rourke's number, the one from the video feed. It rang twice before the smooth, mocking voice answered. Ronan, I was hoping you'd call. I have what you want, Ronan said coldly. Good. Bring it to Dock 7. Midnight. Alone. I want proof she's alive first. A pause, then shuffling sounds. Leanne's voice came through, strained but steady. Ronan, don't. The line cut off. Rourke came back. Satisfied. Midnight, Ronan repeated. Then he hung up. Marcus looked at him from across the room. You're not actually going alone. No, Ronan said, but he's going to think I am. He turned to Zara. I need you to stay here, with Dante and Jerome. They'll keep you safe. You're really going to save her?" Zara asked. Ronan crouched down in front of her. "Your mother saved my life once. I don't forget that, and I don't leave debts unpaid." Zara threw her arms around his neck, holding on tight. He froze for a second, then wrapped his arms around her small frame. "Bring her home," Zara whispered against his shoulder. "I will," Ronan promised. And this time, he meant it. Will Ronan's plan work? Or is he walking into a trap he can't escape? Midnight came fast and cold. Ronan stood on Dock 7, the warehouse looming ahead like a sleeping beast. The river behind him churned black and endless, water slapping against wooden posts. Wind cut through his coat, but he didn't move, didn't shiver, just stood there, visible and alone. Exactly how Rourke wanted him. But Ronan Vale was never truly alone. Marcus was positioned on a rooftop 3 buildings east, sniper rifle ready. Dante was inside a delivery truck 50 yards south, monitoring thermal scans of the warehouse. Jerome was in the water, scuba gear keeping him hidden beneath the dock. And Ronan? Ronan was bait. The warehouse door creaked open. 2 men stepped out, rifles slung across their chests. They scanned the dock, looking for threats they wouldn't find. Then one gestured for Ronan to approach. He walked forward, hands visible, the USB drive in his coat pocket. His steps were measured, calm, like he'd done this 1,000 times before. Because he had. Inside, the warehouse was exactly what he expected. Concrete floors, exposed beams, shadows everywhere. And in the center, under a single hanging bulb, sat Leanne Monroe. She looked worse than the video. Her face was swollen, one eye nearly shut. Blood stained her shirt. But when she saw Ronan, something shifted in her expression, relief mixed with fear. Rourke stood behind her, one hand resting on her shoulder. He smiled. Ronan Vale, the legend himself. Rourke's voice echoed through the empty space. "I was starting to think you wouldn't show." "I'm here," Ronan said flatly. "Let her go. USB first." Ronan pulled it from his pocket and held it up. "Proof of life first." Rourke laughed. "She's sitting right there. Untie her. Let her stand. Then we talk." Rourke considered this, then nodded to one of his men. The guard cut the zip ties. Leanne stood slowly, her legs shaking. But she stayed upright. "Happy?" Rourke asked. "Thrilled." Ronan tossed the USB toward him. Rourke caught it with one hand. He turned it over, examining it like a jewel. Then he plugged it into a laptop one of his men held. The screen lit up. Files began to open. Rourke's smile widened. "You actually brought it. I'm impressed. Thought you'd try to be clever." "I'm a man of my word," Ronan said. "Are you?" Rourke's eyes gleamed. "Because I'm not." He pulled a gun from inside his coat and aimed it at Leanne's head. Ronan's pulse didn't spike. He'd expected this. Rourke was predictable. Always had been. "You really think I'd let her walk out of here?" Rourke asked. "She knows too much. And now that I have the evidence, she's just a loose end." "Then shoot her," Ronan said coldly. Leanne's eyes widened. Rourke's smile faltered. "What?" Rourke asked. "You heard me. Shoot her. Pull the trigger. Because that USB you're holding." Ronan's voice dropped to something lethal. "It's empty." Rourke's face went white. He looked at the laptop, at the files still loading. Then his man spoke. "Boss, these files, they're corrupted. All of them." Rourke's hand tightened on the gun. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Ronan took a step forward. "The real USB is already in the hands of 3 people. A lawyer, a federal agent, a journalist. If I don't walk out of here with Leanne in the next 5 minutes, those files go public. Every name, every transaction, every victim." Rourke's jaw clenched. "You'd burn the whole city." "I'd burn the whole world," Ronan said, "if it meant keeping my promises." For the first time, Rourke looked uncertain. Then Marcus's voice crackled in Ronan's hidden earpiece. "Boss, we got movement. More men incoming. At least 10. Ronan didn't react, just kept his eyes on Rourke. "So here's how this ends," Ronan said. "You let her go. I walk out. And maybe, I give you a head start before the feds come knocking." Rourke's finger hovered over the trigger. "Or I kill you both and disappear." "You could try," Ronan said. "But my men have this building surrounded. You won't make it to the door. It was a bluff. Ronan didn't have enough men to surround anything. But Rourke didn't know that. And doubt was a weapon. Rourke lowered the gun. Slowly, his smile was gone, replaced by something colder. "This isn't over," he said. "Yes," Ronan replied. "It is." He walked toward Leanne, took her arm gently, and guided her toward the exit. No one stopped them. Rourke's men watched, uncertain, waiting for orders that didn't come. They stepped outside into the freezing night. Leanne stumbled, but Ronan caught her. "Zara," she whispered. "Safe," he said. "Waiting for you." Tears streaked down her bruised face. "Thank you." Ronan didn't answer, just kept moving. Behind them, the warehouse stayed silent. But Ronan knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. Did Ronan really outsmart Rourke, or is this exactly what the enemy wanted? The SUV tore through the city streets, Marcus driving like the road belonged to him. Leanne sat in the back, wrapped in a blanket, shaking from shock and cold. Ronan sat beside her, silent, watching the mirrors for tales. "You shouldn't have come for me," Leanne said quietly. "Your daughter thought otherwise," Ronan replied. Leanne closed her eyes. "Is she really okay? She's the bravest person I've met in years." That made Leanne smile just a little. She gets that from her father. Ronan glanced at her. "Where is he?" "Dead. 3 years ago. Heart attack." Her voice was flat, like she'd said it too many times. "It's just been us since then." "Not anymore," Ronan said. Leanne looked at him. "What does that mean?" "It means Rourke isn't going to stop. He'll come after you again. After Zara. After anyone connected to those files. So what do I do?" "You disappear. New city. New names." "I'll arrange it." Leanne shook her head. "I can't run forever." "You won't have to." Ronan's voice was steel. "By tomorrow morning, those files go public. Every name on that list will be exposed. Rourke's network will collapse. He'll be too busy saving himself to come after you. And if he doesn't," Leanne asked. Ronan's eyes went cold. "Then I'll finish what I should have finished 7 years ago." The SUV pulled up to the safe house. Dante stood outside, arms crossed, keeping watch. The door opened, and Zara ran out, her bear clutched in one hand. "Mom," she screamed. Leanne stumbled out of the vehicle and dropped to her knees. Zara crashed into her, and they held each other like the world had tried to pull them apart and failed. Ronan stood back, watching. Something tight in his chest loosened. Not much, but enough. Marcus stepped beside him. "We got word. The files hit the news 20 minutes ago. Every network is running it. The feds are already moving." Ronan nodded. "And Rourke, gone. Vanished before we could get eyes on him." Ronan's jaw tightened. He'd expected that. Men like Rourke always had escape plans. But running wasn't the same as winning. "He'll surface eventually," Ronan said. "And when he does, we'll be ready," Marcus finished. Ronan walked over to where Leanne and Zara sat on the ground, still holding each other. Zara looked up at him, her face streaked with tears and joy. "You kept your promise," she said. Ronan crouched down. "I told you I would." "What happens now?" Leanne asked. "Now you heal," Ronan said. "You rest. And when you're ready, I'll help you start over." Leanne reached out and took his hand. "Why? You don't owe me anything." "Yes," Ronan said quietly. "I do." He stood, his coat billowing in the wind. The city stretched out behind him, lights flickering like stars. Somewhere in those streets, Rourke was hiding, planning, waiting, but Ronan wasn't afraid. Because tonight, he'd remembered something he thought he'd lost. That power wasn't just about control. Sometimes it was about protection, and sometimes the most dangerous thing a man could do was keep a promise to a little girl who believed in him. Marcus called from the SUV. "Boss, we've got another situation. West Side needs your attention." Ronan looked back at Zara one last time. She waved, her smile bright despite everything. He waved back. Then he climbed into the vehicle, the door closing behind him. The city never slept, and neither did the ghosts who protected it. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching this story unfold. This is just the beginning of Operation Winterchild. Rourke is still out there. The fight isn't over, and Ronan Vale has made enemies who won't forget. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next, because the next chapter is going to shake everything you thought you knew. Drop a comment below and tell us, do you think Ronan made the right choice? Would you have traded the evidence to save one life? Share your thoughts and inspire others. This is a story about courage, sacrifice, and the power of keeping promises. Let's keep that spirit alive together. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next story.